So a while back I removed the rattle trap on that wheel well, and now I'm moving on to this wheel well. This guy's done. Found some of the worst rust in the van on the inside of it here, so I'm glad I pulled that off. Honestly, the next step in here is going to be to just take care of all the rust. I'm really going to get basically everything up on this main flooring area, and in order to do that, we got to pull out these seats. Alright, we got this passenger side one out. We got quite a bit of grinding and cleaning to do here. Well, we got a stuck bolt down here. The nut has come loose on the bottom side and is just spinning here now, so either I need to go down below and weld it up on there, or I need to cut it off. Alright, with help from the wonderful Kate, we were able to get that bolt out by holding the nut on the bottom, popping it out. Just unscrewed all these wires, so I think this is ready to come out now. And it's out. Ta-da! Alright, it's all cleaned out. I kind of formulated a new plan here. I think I'm going to do this in like a multi-stage process. So I'm going to go over all of it with a wire wheel first, and I'm hoping that that'll kind of expose any of the rust that was covered over by the previous owner with that cheap roofing paint. After that's exposed, I'm going to go over it with a metal disc sander, grinder, to clean stuff up really quickly. And then if I need to smooth some stuff out, then I'll do so with the flap disc. And hopefully that'll finish it up. We'll see what happens. Did all the grinding with the wire brush on the grinder. There are a few spots where I'm gonna have to do some more intense grinding to make sure I remove all the rust, like here. This spot here I'm gonna have to cut out and weld in a little spot there, and then a few other little spots, but not too much. But I will need to buy some sheet metal, so I need to remove this rattle trap and figure out how to get that residue off there. Well, so far I have done a great job of smearing it around with this wire brush thing. Not quite sure how to get it off there. Alright, well, I think using mineral spirits and a rag has been working pretty well. I put the mineral spirits on and started using this scraper before using the wire wheel, and that seems to have stayed quite a bit cleaner. I think that was a bad call to go with that wire wheel on there first. Alright, so I just finished pulling off all this rattle trap here, and when I was pulling off some of that other rattle trap, I just kept thinking maybe I don't need to pull this off, maybe it's not that bad under there. Could probably get away with just leaving it, but as I'm pulling this off, I realize oh, this is peeling up a whole bunch of paint. That's all rust there. There's a bunch of rust spots over here that were hidden underneath that, so it was necessary, and that makes me feel better about pulling it all up. Alright, so I got all that off there, all the rattle trap The big winner today has been this razor blade scraper. All right, this is really what I was hoping for here. I would say the best process for removing this butyl garbage from the rattle trap is to first use a razor blade scraper to get as much of it off as you can. So first pull it off by hand. I used like a paint scraper to kind of like work the edges up and get it off. Then there will just be like these remaining lines from the rattle trap, and just take a razor blade scraper, get that off. Optional step is to use some acetone and maybe wipe that down with acetone. I don't know that that's actually necessary, so I'm just running over it with just like a normal metal grinding disc. Seems to be working pretty well. This wheel well's done. Tiring, but honestly like wasn't horrible. I still will need to go over it again and finish cleaning it up, but I got all of the butyl material off for the most part. All right, finished up that second wheel well there. Got all that butyl crap ground down off of it. Worked, just kind of probed a little bit here about figuring out what needs to be done with these spots. Still not quite sure, but once again, this is like a subframe member here, so my inclination is to, you can kind of see where this is swollen under here, I think. So my inclination is just to cut out beyond those areas and remove this piece, grind it down really good, coat it, and then weld a new piece back in. And I think that would not be too difficult. Hello friends, I am grinding away on this van again today, and I am continuing to see what they mean by the rust you see is only the tip of the iceberg. We got these holes here that were just like this size, that kind of just been opening up. I've decided that I'm not, at least at this point, I'm not planning on leaving any rust covered up. If it's there, I'm gonna dig it out and fix it. And so it's pretty bad under there. So I think that's just the frame rail. There's like a subframe portion right there under the van. And so probably what I'm gonna end up doing is just cutting out a box here, making sure that we get the frame ground down really well, and welding a piece back in there. Alright, I've been working my way through here, getting most of the rust out. Not finding a whole ton of places, just a few of these spots where there's like sheet metal on top of the subframe that I'll need to take care of. Probably like this here as well. Alright, so I think most of this rust that's between the sheet metal and the subframe is kind of isolated to these areas where there was water intrusion, and then these holes that you can see, honestly, like right beyond here, no rust. So we'll cut this back a little bit more here just to make sure we get it fully, and then we'll coat this whole inside of this frame with some good rust treatment. That's kind of encouraging. You can see the piece that was cut out right here, pretty bad on the underside, but as far as I can tell, it's not like widespread, and that's what I was worried about when I started finding that, like if there was rust under this entire section here. And I think it is just going to be low spots where there was perforations to under the van. All right, I'm cutting up this piece right here that was kind of bubbling under it. can see all this rust forming between the subframe and the sheet metal there. Gonna keep cutting this out. Alright, so I've just been cutting out these spots. Not stoked that looks like the rust continues farther under there. And I found a few spots where there's definitely some rust in the bottom of the frame rail, which also sucks. Alright, I've just taken the angle grinder and cut some of this out just to access what's going on under here. Yeah, we got some pretty bad rust under there, unfortunately. Alright, got another chunk out here. I'm feeling a little bit better about this one because I can see the end of the rust here for the most part. And so I'm probably going to assume that this is similar over here. I was pretty bummed to initially see that it didn't look like the rust ended. But I think this side's probably similar, so the rust probably just goes to about right here. Same as over here. I think what I'm gonna do, focus on getting a few more of these cut out today. These bad sections here. And then I'll probably see if I can get the metal ground down on these guys and maybe throw a few coats of rust lock primer on those to prep those for being sheeted in metal again. Just picked up this big sheet here of steel. Finally found a good spot to get this. This is 18 gauge steel, 48 by 48 inch sheet here was like $48, which is not too bad because I think Home Depot sells like a 1 foot square of this for $20. It's not cheap. Alright, well, this guy over here is pretty much ready to go. Might clear out a little bit more of that over there and grind back a little more there, but pretty good for now. This one was doing okay over here, and then my grinder gave out, but about time to get myself a new grinder, I think. Alright, and I'm back. I ended up just getting 2 grinders. I got this small one for cutoff, the big one for grinding because it takes more amperage. So this is like an 8 amp. This is a 4.5. So I got that one all finished up over there. This grinder is a lot better than the other one. Works way faster, so I'm glad I picked that up. And it's way quicker to switch between cutting and grinding. So I'm really liking that. I'm gonna cut these 2 guys out here. Keep moving along. Alright, well, at the end of today, I've got these 2 sections here ground down. For these spots down here, I was thinking of putting this other stuff that I got a while back. It is a weld-through primer designed to be welded through, and it's got lots of zinc in it, so apparently that's supposed to protect the metal. But first I'm going to coat these with Ospo because there is some divoted rust in there, and I want to just kind of saturate everything in that rust killer first. Alright, I got my Ospo foam brush, and I'm just brushing this on here. So I used our weld through primer on these pieces of frame here on both sides. I cut these openings into somewhat of a rectangular shape so that hopefully we'll be able to cut a piece that fits there pretty well. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut 2 pieces to fit in there. I'm gonna drill some holes through the top of it to weld through onto here. And we're gonna go ahead and get those installed now. Alright, I got a good fit on this guy. Just gonna drill some holes. Somewhere between 6 and 8 holes in here just to weld through. You get it stuck to that frame member like it was. And then we'll just kind of start tacking it around here. I'll probably clean this up first with the grinder, but coming along. Alright, we got our plates here with our holes drilled. Just gonna clean them up a bit with some mineral spirits and grinder. Give them a spray of weld through primer on the back. Wait for a second and we'll start welding. With all this work, I am definitely second guessing my decision to buy and restore a rusted van. Cost wise, it's gonna turn out being pretty good. For a comparatively low mileage van, I saved probably $6,000 to $10,000 buying this van, so I can afford to put some time into it. It's not all that bad of a deal. So just gonna have to do it little bits at a time. It's gonna take way longer than I want it to take, but yeah, it's coming along.